Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's session from PG Week. So this session is going to be a live panel with current postgraduate students at the University of Suffolk. We're going to be discussing kind of all different aspects of student life at the University of Suffolk, as well as specific things to do with their courses. So to begin with, I'll introduce myself. So my name's Solomon. I work in the student recruitment team here at the university. Before that, I studied English as my undergraduate degree at the University of Suffolk. I then did a postgraduate master's degree in creative and critical writing. And then if we can all just introduce ourselves, starting with Jivesh, if we go round clockwise.
Perfect. My name is Jivesh. I'm a student here. I'll do diagnostic radiography. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, hi, my name is Osama. I'm doing my master's in cybersecurity. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, don't think we can I hear you, Jay.
I'll jump in off the back of Jay then, while you get started with the technical gremlins. So my name's Adam, and I'm doing a master's conversion course in psychology.
Great, thanks, Adam. I think we'll move on briefly, and then once we get Jay's microphone working, we'll then introduce Jay. So I think the first question that I just want to go into is what made you choose the University of Suffolk to begin with, and are there things that made this university stand out in particular? If we start with Jivesh, please.
Okay. So I chose the University of Suffolk because the course that I do, diagnostic radiography, they're actually industry standard in it. It's very good for the equipment that they use. They also have a block and blend system, which enables you to do one subject at a time, meaning your grades will be better. It's just an amazing system to use. And the university itself is great with the support system, whereas I can tell that some unis, they're not really as great at supporting you, whereas this uni is really good at the support they have here.
Thanks, Jivesh. What about you, Osama?
Yeah, so my reasons for choosing the University of Suffolk was because they have like a very good cybersecurity program, and mostly because of the Digitech Center, which is at Astral Park, the heart of BT. So in terms of technology, the university is quite forward. We using industry standard, and it's very practical based as well. The modules have a very good blend between the practical side and the theoretical side, which as a cybersecurity professional you kind of need because you get to play with tools that the industry boys are actually using. So when you get into the world, you are good to go in terms of work experience, in terms of hands-on skills as well.
Great, thank you, Osama. What about you, Adam?
So I'll give a slightly perhaps unorthodox answer in that I was all set to go to Warwick. So to give you a bit of context, so I'm sort of getting a bit uncomfortably close to 40. I've got 2 kids. You know what I mean? In terms of my availability to travel is pretty limited. So I was all, and my ambition, if you like, is to be an educational psychologist. I've been a teacher for 17 years, retraining, becoming ed psych. I need the BPS accreditation. So in my mind, that had to do that part-time distance learning. Warwickshire's got, by all accounts, a very decent course. I was all ready to go down that route. I sort of almost went on a whim to an open day that was actually intended for the undergraduates. But there I got talking to the staff, and Rachel Martin is one of the module leaders in psychology. And a bit of backstory about her. She had a career in sales, computer sales, and after going through a bit of a divorce, single mum, 2 kids, she got her without any previous degree. She then embarked upon a degree at the University of Suffolk, got her qualifications, and is now a lecturer, got a PhD, and all her teaching qualifications and everything here. So having talked to her, I instantly felt like actually this is someone who's going to get it when I say, if I was in the unfortunate position of saying, unfortunately, my kids got the flu, they're off school, please can I have, a couple of days extension on that sort of thing, and give me honest answers around attainment targets and what's realistic and what's not realistic, rather than just. But I don't know if anyone else has been down there. Sometimes you can go to these university open days and they're just sort of selling you the dream a little bit, where they pretty much got the impression this woman had lived it. Everything that was coming out of her mouth was, I could sort of trust.
Yeah. Great, thanks, Adam. Should we see if Jay's microphone is working? Do you want to try and introduce yourself again, Jay?
Yeah. And sorry.
Great, I can hear you. It's all right.
Okay, so my name is Jay. I'm an international student. I'm from India basically, and I'm pursuing MS International Business in University of Suffolk, and it's a great experience. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So, while you were off the call, I was just asking people what were their reasons behind picking the University of Suffolk. So, would you mind going into your reasons, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. My first main reason to select the University of Suffolk, because I have checked the many university before coming to the UK and selecting the University of Suffolk. The first is the location is a very good location from apart from the many big cities from like London, Birmingham, and the location is very nice. The second point is the student selection, the student satisfaction ratio, the number of the students are satisfied with the university is a very good. Third important point is the block and blend method that I love in the education. Like here in the university, they taught one module in the few weeks. So by this method, students can focus on the individual subject for the particular time and they get the master in that particular subject. So this is another good reason to select this university. So these are my few reasons to select the University of Suffolk.
Great, thanks, Jay. So I also did a postgraduate course here. So most of my reasons for picking it for my masters were obviously I did the undergraduate here and I got on so well with the lecturers. They got to know my writing style and my research style, my research interests, and they showed a genuine interest to kind of cultivate the things which I was excited to work on. And I find that when I went to open days in the past, that other universities had similar experiences where I didn't get the sense of there being a more personable kind of individualized kind of lecturing style. So I think I was definitely kind of drawn to that in my studies. I think the next question I want to go into, if you talk about your courses specifically, so what were your reasons behind choosing your particular course? Like, was it something you've studied in the past, or was it something that you kind of made a change to go on to? So I think if we start with Javesh.
So I chose diagnostic radiography as I had personal experience going through that as a patient, and I saw the impact that it had on me. So I wanted to do that impact on everyone else. So I made it my goal to become a diagnostic radiographer, try help diagnose as many people as I can, try to make a real difference. So that's why I picked diagnostic radiography.
That's really great. I didn't know that about you, Javesh. That's like really interesting. Obviously, you've got like a clear passion, clear reason behind it. Nice. What about you, Osama?
Yeah, so I had my undergrad in sports science, which was quite very, very different from what I'm doing now. Or I started like writing code at the age of like 16, 17. And while I was in school, I already got into like building software. So I was into game development kind of like as a hobby. Then I got into back-end development, building applications and stuff. And after being 5 years in the industry, you see a lot of stuff in terms of cybersecurity, how you have applications that are not really security focused, and you see the damaging effects those things can do. And when it came to like doing a master's, I don't want to do a master's in software engineering because I felt I had enough grasp of the concept. Cybersecurity was something that the world needs, or there's a lot of like in-demand skill for cybersecurity professionals. And I felt it layered well with my experience in software engineering. So that's my reason for choosing the master's in cybersecurity.
That's great. Yeah. So it's something which you were already interested in before you even studied it, and obviously you realise you can do something that you essentially were doing as a hobby to begin with, and obviously apply it to an educational thing. Yeah, I think that's really cool. So it's something if it's something you're passionate about, and something you love doing in your free time already. I think that makes perfect sense. What about you, Adam?
So, like I sort of alluded to earlier, so I've got sort of 17 years sort of teaching experience anyway, and I'm sort of looking to move away from that career now, and I was just looking for the next step. Where can I take it? And anyway, educational psychology was the route that sort of appealed to me in terms of being able to make like you say, like Sam was saying, make a difference. Like Javesh was saying, same sort of thing. You're looking to make a difference, and so again, that's why I picked the course. And again, talking to the people on the course, it turns out they've got connections also with the ed psychs over at the local council. So there's networking capabilities and things that I've discovered that I wasn't expecting when I joined the course, but yeah, other benefits have come along since then.
Great, thanks. And what about you, Jay?
Yeah, so I'm doing MSc International Business. So I have a bit experience in the consulting and the business back in India for 1.5 years. So I want to increase my skills regarding the business knowledge. And now if we see in the world, like every business grows globally, grows internationally, and make their such like the brands. So I want to increase my knowledge regarding it. That's why I selected the international business management. Yes.
Great, thank you. So this is a question for the people who are living in student accommodation. So who out of you guys here is living in student accommodation? I think Osama has, haven't he? I think Javesh has.
I have stayed.
So do you want to start with Osama and then Javesh? So what's your experience of the student accommodation here?
Okay, so coming into the University of Suffolk, I stayed in Athena Hall. I stayed in there for a while because since I'm doing a 1-year course, so once my course is nearing the end, I decided to move into more private accommodation. And my experience was, I don't think I would have made the friends I had made if I had not stayed in Athena Hall. It helped me like open up, it helped me experience school a whole lot more, because I mean, coming into like a new city, a new environment, you get to be a little bit reserved. But me staying in the student accommodation, like I remember getting a surprise birthday party from my flatmates after knowing them for like 1 month. That was a very, very fun experience. So it really helped me open up. It really helped me get the full university experience, and it's something I would advise to anyone looking to study at the University of Suffolk.
Of course, thank you. What about you, Javesh?
Perfect. So I'm currently staying in Athena Hall. This is my second year in Athena Hall. Athena Hall has been amazing. As Osama has said, it provides a social space to really connect with students that you may not get to see in your day-to-day uni life. Whereas because you're in the flat with so many different people, you can get one in history, you can get one in healthcare, you can really connect with different people. There's also the facilities really good. So every room has an ensuite, which is amazing because you do want your own bathroom and own shower. You don't want to be sharing that with people. There is studios there as well, and there's different size varieties of rooms to depending on what you need, what you require. So it's just amazing.
Great, thank you. I think I had a similar experience. I stayed at Athena Hall in my first year, and then I moved into Spring Court in my second year. And they're two different accommodation options, both within walking distance of the university. But Spring Court's maybe like 10-15 minutes walk away. And the only difference was really like Spring Court was more of a kind of shared, like not every room had an ensuite. It was more of a kind of standard flat share type experience. Whereas I find Athena Hall's more what you'd expect from like first year student halls. Obviously, you have that large accommodation area, and then I found with Spring Court, which is a slightly different atmosphere. But I think both are positive. There's lots of different options for the accommodation here. I think we also have like larger student houses. We have Ormond House, which is near Christchurch Park. I know there's some PG students who choose to live in that house because that's a big 16-bedroom townhouse with like 4 shared kitchens or something like that. So I think there are different kind of accommodation options too. So what about living in Ipswich? So like presumably all of you live relatively locally or don't really kind of commute too far. So what have been people's experiences of living in Ipswich? Like what do you do outside of your studies essentially? I'm aware that your answer will be a bit different to this one, Adam, but I think we'll start with Javesh and then we'll go around clockwise. That's all right.
So around Ipswich, it's quite a good social life. So you go into town because town's quite near to the university and Athena Hall. It's only like about a 5-10 minutes walk into the town centre, which is great for going on nights out, going on evenings. So it's really good. Really good restaurants around, really good buffets. There's Buttermarket there. They've got arcade there, cinema. There's also a boom battle bar, which is really cool for the students. Get to go have fun, throw axes, get a bit drunk. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So my experience for living in Ipswich is the kind of person I am. I like a good workout. I do martial arts, which I found to be quite accommodating. There are kickboxing studios, MMA boxing studios in and around Ipswich. There are a lot of week-owned gyms. There's also the university's very own Move Gym, which is £5 a month, which I found to be very convenient because it's right underneath Athena Hall. Then also there are a lot of student-friendly restaurants, affordable restaurants as well. I personally I like Chinese food and I frequent Papa Pandas, which is a great place for you to hang out with friends. And there's also a place for you to play games if pool is your thing, if snooker is your thing, if cards is your thing. Like there's an SU space as well. And there's also the mix cafe and bar where you can just go out, go for drinks, play snooker, play games, play football, and just generally chill. So it's quite accommodating and it's a quite chill experience in Ipswich generally.
Great, thanks, Osama. What about you, Adam? I'm aware your time's probably taken up by raising 2 kids, but do you get a chance to kind of go out and stuff as well sometimes? I'm sure you do. Oh, I think your microphone's muted, Adam. Oh, Adam, I think your microphone's muted.
Sorry about that. Let's try again. So I moved to Ipswich sort of 17 years ago for the weekend, just to help my girlfriend help clear her nan's house out. And that was it. So that was 17 years ago, and I'm somehow still here because it's now basically the place won me over is the long and the short, just in terms of the atmosphere, the people. It's got that sort of nice sort of waterfront aesthetic as well, which has really improved over the years. So it's become a little bit more trendy, a little bit more it sounds patronising to say, but a bit more energetic, a bit more youthful, a bit more vibrant, you know what I mean, as opposed to just run down this harbour front sort of thing. It's an actually genuinely vibrant, pleasant area to spend along the front. But I've said this for years to myself and my other half, because a lot of our friends moved to London because they live like that metropolitan vibe. And they'd always tell me, like, Adam, but the thing is, do you not miss all the different types of restaurants, all the different types of food you can get? And they'd list everything off, and I was like, well, that's 5 minutes up the road. That one's 10 minutes up the road. Yeah. The Nepalese is like 50. We got it all here. You know what I mean? Everything that they're listing. But have you got the geek, the equivalent of like the gamer dens and the VR basements and things like this for all into the VR game? Yeah, we got that in here in Ipswich. So actually, Ipswich isn't the biggest town in the world, but it's sort of small but perfectly formed. Everything you sort of going to look for in a town, you're going to find it here in Ipswich, really, is what I found. And, it's been true over sort of the last 18 years. Never thought of moving again. I'm, moved in on a whim, but I think they've got me till I'm buried here now. So, yeah. I was up for an endorsement.
I found that as the university's grown and the university's got more subjects and has taken on more students, it does kind of liven up the town a bit, I think, because it changes it just changes the amount of people there. And obviously when you've got more young people coming in to kind of study different courses, I think it's just, it does kind of revitalize an area a bit. So, and obviously with the new, with Ipswich Town Football Club going in the Premier League, that's also given the town another step up. So I feel it's a destination that's like on the rise. And though I do like going into London for some things, it's still you're right, there is most things that you need are kind of located here as well. And then what about you, Jay? I know that you don't live in Ipswich, but you wanted to talk about what I was talking about earlier about the kind of personalised relationship with the lecturers, I think.
Yeah. So I have a very good relation with all my lecturers. Like I have studied the strategic international marketing in the last semester, then the international business management with the Keith, and the both faculties are the very experienced. Like they have worked with the organization first for the 5 to 7 years, so they can give the very much practical examples like how the organizations are work. And I have many doubt or like to know the more things about any particular subject or topic. So they personally, if I ask them, so they personally give the example by themselves, like they worked in this organization and they face this type of problem in their business and they how they solve. So it's a really good relationship and they politely answer each and every question. So yeah, it's very good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jay. So the next question is about the differences between postgraduate study and undergraduate study. I think that obviously if you've joined a postgraduate study course as an international student, I'm aware there may be like a big difference anyway, because obviously you're studying in a different country. But what would people say are the main differences between undergraduate study and postgraduate study? If we start with Jivesh, please. Oh, sorry, no. So if we start with Osama, please.
Yeah, so the main difference will be you have to do more work by yourself, right? For undergraduate study, you're kind of being carried along, right? And I mean, it's undergraduate study. You don't necessarily think about a career too much. Like you don't have as much responsibility as in a postgrad, right? Because I mean, you want to go to uni and you go and do an undergraduate study, but in postgrad, I guess there is more responsibility. You have to read a bit more. The lecturers can only do so much because you have limited time with them, and you're expected to do most of the work by yourself. And I guess it's also much more interacting. So you're being seen as like a peer because in undergrad they're seeing you as students and you're being treated as students, or in postgrad you're being seen more as a peer. So you're talking about advanced concepts, um, you're talking about problem solving from a very high level standpoint, which I quite enjoy, and I feel it's more hands on, it's more whole, and it's more mature. I would say that for me, yeah.
What about you, Adam? What would you say the differences between PG and UG study are?
Yeah, so I think Osama has absolutely hit the nail on the head there in terms of the step up in responsibility and work involved. Now, with me doing a conversion course, it's a bit different in the sense it's essentially an undergraduate degree, but in a year. So whilst most people do one block or one module per block, we've got two each time, and sometimes three modules going simultaneously. So I remember asking on the open day about this, and it was, could I realistically hold down a full-time job as well as this? And the answer was like very much no. And the answer is, that is true. I'm finding, to do well in the course. I mean, if you're looking to go get a first, you're probably going to have to spend realistically about 45 hours a week working, because you're holding down 2 or 3 modules simultaneously. But granted, that is a picture of, like I say, a conversion course where I'm doing an undergraduate degree in a year. So if that's anything to sort of be, that's definitely something to be aware of in terms of difference between a normal degree and a master's conversion, which is surprised me just about how intense it is, but enjoyable.
Yeah. I found a similar experience with the step up to with the step up from UG to PG. Found it was like we obviously during my undergraduate degree we had lots of set texts and set research papers and set theories that we were exploring, whereas with the MA it was we had lots of things which we were exploring, but none of them are mandatory. It was always like go find the things that you want to do, find your own research interests. Obviously there's a bit of that in the final year of undergrad, but with the masters that was the whole thing. It was like, here, we're going to give you the tools, but what you do with them is up to you. So it's all about kind of finding your own specific research interests and kind of cultivating that essentially. So you do get more independence. Obviously there is less contact time generally, so I'm not sure if that I think with a conversion course you probably get lots of contact time, but with the masters that I did, it was like, I think it was like a 1 or 2 days actually in the on campus per week. So I was doing a full-time master's, but I was still able to work a 0.8 pro rata job alongside it because I was only working 4 days a week, and then so I was able to kind of fit my hours around that. So I did like the kind of flexibility that the timetable gave me at the same time. So I think the next question I'll ask is about just like general kind of campus support. So what kind of support is available on the University of Suffolk campus? Like, how people use support? Obviously, you don't need to go into personal detail if you want, but is there support available to people throughout their studies? We start with Jivesh.
Yeah, so from our studies, I've had to actually go to lots of student support. So actually in the Waterfront building, there's a student support center where you can go if you're having any issues with your course, let's say, or if you're having any other issues with funding or loans. It could be any issues that you're having. They're there to help you and almost signpost you to different areas that you need to do, and they'll help you out. So that's really good there. The lecturers are also there. They're on campus sometimes, and they're just an email away, and they can meet you on campus if you need to have an in-person meeting, tutorials, stuff like that. So they're always there to support you really nicely. And yeah, there's so much support. There's even student life mentors, where if you're struggling to adjust with the student life, you can have a buddy that's buddied up with you and try make that transition a bit easier if you've had a while away from being a student.
Yeah. So for this, I've gotten tons of support. The University of Suffolk is like a doting mother. You can even say there's almost too much support, right? So in terms of, first of all, you have the reception at the student center. So that should be your base of operations. If there's anything you're feeling lost, you can always go there. Even if they are not the right resource to contact, they can point you to the right resource to contact, right? You have student experience team when it comes to anything concerning your research paper, your assessment, your experience as a student. They're there to help you. If you feel like a bit isolated from the school life, you can talk to Katie and Louis, our SU presidents, and they can get you more involved in things that are happening on in the school in terms of things like a food crawl, getting you signed up for social sports, or anything in general you need. And you also have chaplains here as well. So if you do have religion and you need a quiet space to practice, you can speak to the chaplaincy. They can point you to the local mosque. They can point you to the different areas that have been carved out for you to practice your religion. So in terms of support, I think the University of Suffolk has done a tremendous job in providing support at different layers and different levels for students.
Great. Thanks, Osama. If we come to Adam and then to Jay, please.
So funnily enough, it almost borders on my only sort of area of criticism for the university is my email inbox fills up daily with emails from all the various support teams around campus. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, hi, we can offer this support course, we can offer this one. You know, there's at least sort of, it feels like 10, 15 emails a week just from the support organizations within the university. And even I would probably say add on Osama's thing, I've seen plenty around there in terms of the employability, which is available for mature students as well. And, you know, for anyone who's just trying to get in, they'll physically, you know, give you money to apply for training, get an interview suit, just anything, whatever barrier you've got in your way between getting some, you know, good work experience alongside your study. Like, that's the bit that impressed me. They'll just take practical steps to help you get on with that as well. That's something that's sort of impressed me. And I went down to the careers advice guys as well, and it sort of, you know, it really impressed me how, because part of me was expecting it all to be sort of young guy focused, you know what I mean? So I aimed at sort of like 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. But actually, when I went down there and explained, look, this is going to be a second career for me, I'm just trying to sort of shift it. All the advice on how to shift it and network slightly differently, and, you know, how to bring everything, the previous knowledge, into sort of the new area was there. You know, there was a lot of good advice around that as well. So that surprised me. So yeah, really good.
Thanks, Adam.
Really good.
What are you, Jay?
Yes. Yeah. So I want to give my personal experience and personal example. Like I was finding big struggle in the looking for the part-time job and building my profiles as per the UK because I worked in the India, so I set the one-to-one meetings twice with the career and enterprise cell, and they suggest me like what steps I exactly have to do, how I have to create my LinkedIn profile, how I make to the CV, and how I have to apply for this type of jobs, internships, and these things. So yeah, it's really helpful. And all other aspects, whenever I need the help, there's someone is available from the university. So it's quite good.
Great, thank you, Jay. So my next question would be about the Students' Union. So how involved have people gotten with the Students' Union? Like, does the Students' Union put on activities for people? Like, what kind of things are there for people to get involved in? Start with you, Javesh.
Yeah, I've gotten involved with many events with the Student Union. One of the main standout events for me was the Home Away from Home series, where they ran loads of events to try help it come into Suffolk, if you're not from the area, making it a bit more digestible, making it a more friendly place, providing that support, helping you. Okay, you still hear me? Okay, perfect. Yeah, helping me support, helping you make that connections that you need. Whereas, because it can be quite a lonely place at uni if you haven't got that those events there to make the friends, make the supports, make the connections. So I feel like that was one of the main things that really stood out to me with the Student Union.
Yeah,
Thanks,
so
Javesh.
for
I'll move
me,
on to Osama if you got involved with the Students' Union.
yeah, so I think after a couple days or weeks of being in Suffolk, I met Luis and I spoke to him. He gave me the whole guide for joining social sports, so I was able to start playing basketball. I got registered at the gym. That was through the help of the Students' Union. And sometime 3, 4 weeks ago, I signed up for one of the events, which was like a yoga session. It was my first time trying yoga. It was very relaxing and very different as well. And there were also a couple other activities, things like prize nights, which they did last week, and a food crawl, which they did like a couple 2 weeks ago. So they're always up and about with a couple different events, and you just have to pick one, try it out. It's a whole lot of fun to experience new things. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Osama. What about you, Adam? Do you get involved with the SCU?
Not massively, apart from sort of I did volunteer to be a student rep, so there's the course rep sort of side of things. So that's really good to be able to sort of feedback the concerns of and the positive feedback. Let's face it, it's 99% positive feedback I only get to give, which is nice because I then get to feedback to the lecturers on everything we think they're doing a great job, and then obviously we can nitpick the little things we sometimes think we could be better or whatever. But more generally and socially speaking, one obviously my sort of time demands are pretty full, so I don't get hugely involved. But I have been along to a couple of the D&D sessions and things like that. So that's been quite enjoyable. Lovely crowd. I recommend if anyone's curious and never played D&D before or are just curious and want to get a game in, very friendly bunch, I can say. Highly recommend it.
Yeah. I've never actually played it. I had in my second year, I lived in a flat with 5 other guys, and they would always play D&D every Saturday morning. But I always had a shift at work on Saturday, so I always saw the beginning, but I never saw the match. But it always sounds fun. Like I find it interesting. So what about you, Jay? Have you got involved with the SCU? I know you don't live in Ipswich, so it might be a bit more difficult.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult, but I seen they organize very much events for all the students, so it's a good chance to make the new friends apart from your field, and it's good way to make a network from the different courses of students. So yeah, it's good.
Great, thanks, Jay. So this next question I'll ask. If you're not sure, that's okay. Not everyone needs to know exactly what they're doing, but I'm wondering, do people know what they're going to do after they graduate? Have they got a plan for what they're doing next, or is it all a little bit up in the air? If we start with you, Javesh.
So after diagnostic radiography, I'm looking to maybe go into medicine, become a radiologist or an imaging cardiologist. But if not, maybe go into working as a diagnostic radiographer and specializing later on in the time. But hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get onto medicine.
Yeah, great. Good luck. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Moving to Osama.
Yeah. So this was something I was like having a lot of trouble with because, I mean, yeah, cybersecurity is a very vast field, and it was bigger than I thought it was like, when I started studying here. So I had a chat with Sonia from the Arias team, and she gave me like a whole detailed plan to kind of like guide my choices. And right now, what I'm looking into is actually getting into the industry, starting as a cybersecurity analyst, getting into cloud security. I already have some certifications I'm preparing for, and just get like industry work experience and absorb everything as it comes. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Osama. And then I think if we come to you, Adam, I think you've got a pretty good idea of what you want to do.
Fully enough, like I say, I joined the university very much in mind. I'm going to be, educational psychologist. That's what I came here to do. But one of the advantages of doing the in-person taught degree as opposed to the distance one is just the contact you get with outside professionals from all different fields. So we've had clinical psychologists in, we've had forensic psychologists in, the sort of to say criminal ones, forensic, they're clinical, all the different ones, Sorry, that's really bad of me, isn't it? But, and it's so fascinating to hear all these areas, people, experts speak from different areas of expertise. It sort of turned my head a little bit. So whilst I'm still pretty sure I'm going to go down the ed psych route, I'm sort of having my head turned a little bit just by listening to all the different sort of fantastic careers that are out there within the sort of field of psychology.
Yeah, that's the thing about like going to university, because obviously you are surrounded by lots of people doing like different forms of exciting research that you may have like a different subject turn in your head. I think that's partially what kind of makes continuing to stay in education more exciting, because like as you know, like you might find something which you hadn't even thought about, and then you hear like a guest lecturer talk about something and you're like, maybe that's something I would like to pursue. So maybe even if it's not the thing which you initially thought it was, like I like the idea that it can be quite fluid, and like your idea of what you want to do can grow from your course as well. So we go over to you, Jay.
No, I'm not very sure about this answer. So yeah.
That's fair enough. Like it's like that's like totally fair. Like I'm sure like not everyone has like a perfect mapped out plan for what they're doing, but I still think it's a good idea to have a like postgraduate qualification, because it's kind of adding more strings to your bow. You know what I mean? Like adds you like gives a deeper understanding of your kind of research topics. I think it's definitely a good thing to pursue, even if you're not totally sure where you're going with it. I think it's more of a like kind of exciting thing to do. So I'm just going to look through and see if we've got any questions through Instagram. We've had one person say they're doing an online course. Oh, someone just said they liked the course. It wasn't the question there. So I think what we'll probably end with, if there's someone who's kind of questioning doing a postgrad like pursuing postgraduate study, let's say if they're on the fence. Is there like a piece of advice or anything that you'd like to tell people who are kind of considering it but are not so sure? We start with Jivesh and then go around clockwise again.
I would say to them, I would 100% recommend doing the postgraduate degree, because let's say you don't use it, it is still a tool in your box that you can use at any time, and it just helps develop your understanding and experience, and it helps a challenge. So if you love a challenge, go ahead.
Cool.
Yeah, so I would say make sure it's something you want to do, make sure it's something you're passionate about, right? Because like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of responsibility in terms of doing a postgraduate degree. So if it's something you're passionate about, if it's something that you find fun, it's something that you're definitely going to be able to follow through with. So just make sure it's something you find interesting before you decide to like do a postgrad on it.
Yeah. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I think Javesh and again Osama have absolutely hit the nail on the head there. What I would say, if there's anyone and ahhing about doing a distance course or a taught degree, like I was maybe using it as shift career, obviously it's a big financial decision, but I would say, whilst it's cost me because I can work less hours now, I'm doing the 1 year taught degree as opposed to the 2 year part time. I absolutely have no regrets choosing to do that in-person taught degree over the distance learning one at another university. It's been night and day, better quality, better experience all the way through. So if that's if that's something you're considering and you think you can financially support yourself for that shorter time earning less money, I highly recommend doing that.
Great. Thanks, Adam. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I want to say like it's very good to do one postgraduate study because it's like you will become a specialist in any one particular thing, and while you are pursuing your masters, you will meet many similar kind of mindset people in your university, in your class, and that will push you up to think more about your career, about your passion field in which you are passionate. So it will definitely push you in your career. Yeah, it's good.
Great. Thank you, Jay. So is there anything which anyone else wants to add to this discussion, or anything that we've not covered today which anyone would just like to add before I close the stream? No, everyone's all good, again, shaking heads. Cool. So thank you for everyone who's tuned in and watched it live. Thank you for everyone who's also tuned in and watching the recording. Obviously, this will be available on the website and on all the places that we stream to. This is the final live session of PG Week, but then tomorrow we have a session for people to chat with students and staff via UniBuddy. So I'm going to make sure lots of lecturers are online there so they can respond directly to your messages. That's essentially the last stream of PG Week. We also have our virtual campus tour, which will be tomorrow afternoon, which will be available via the website, so you can find us there as well. But that's the end of this stream. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, and goodbye.